rid themselves of the unwanted bondom. Mean is the city elder kill. Something like a kill. Yeah. If the children survived this first examination, he or she was allowed to remain at home under the watchful care of parents for approximately 7 years. 7 years parents keep, at which time the boy entered a dormitory where they live among their peers. Mean is 7 years they go to the dormitory. Mean is the military campus style. They are educated group. Sparta education was marked by fanatical disciple. The intent of their education was to harden the body and develop a great degree of the bodyful skills. Focus on body and body skills. Intellectual development was void. No, seeing was wasteful. A few of the boys might have the ability to learn to read, but such activity was proven upon came only at great personal expense through the hiring of the personal tutor known as pedagogue. Mean is the only educational for the focus on body. Is the learning to read something is the academic side, intellectual, that is the only personal expenses. They are needed to hire tutor, special personal tutor. We are saying the pedagogue. Pedagogue is they are meaning is a teacher. Sparta education was directed toward production soldier who couldn't fight with unwavered disciples. Girls were educated in Sparta, but their education consisted primarily the curriculum that is benefit to state. Just focus on benefit to state. They were taught how to the mother of the future warrior, always nurturing and sacrificing for their sons. Gymnastics was dominant course of the instruction. Gymnastics is the more sports, and it included dancing, singing, and music to bear strong children. Mean is girl educated to the mother and bear strong children for warrior. The girl was instructed in wrestling, gymnastics, swimming, and running. That is for strong women to bear good children, good health children, strong children. That is different concept of spectra. Another concept of the Athens. Athens is Athene. In the city of the Athene is the educational system stood on the sharp contrast to the form of instruction that was indicative of a spectra. The Athenian system was dedicated to development of the mind. Athene education is the more focused on the mind. There are no public school uses in the internet. Internet is there no public school, not yet. Wealthy people hire private tutors for their children. Their private tutor known as the pedagogues. Old Greek slave who had lost their ability to do physical labor in the field to serve as chaperone. Pedagogue carried children's school supplies, ensured school safely and on time, and generally oversaw the children's moral and ethical development within society. Ethiopian children remain home with no formal instruction until age 6, at which their formal education began. Basically, 4 deep types of the school was available. There are the private school, 4 kinds of the school. First one, elementary school. Elementary school for boys ages 6 to 13. Secondary school, boy aged 14 to 18. And school higher education, young men could learn advanced study in medicine, especially advanced medicine and law and music and science. Another academic is a military academic for students who desire such training is the paideia, refer the training of young children in Greek culture. Paideia did not involve doing things for the children, but rather the guide to child to have the spontaneous activity, artistic and graceful form. It is a general way for nature and harmonious development of the physical and mental power. Their Internet is focused on harmonious development, physical and mental together, preferred human nature. Such a well-rounded liberal education is origin of the humanism in the educational philosophy. This is Internet education. At 14, children complete his study and return to home to learn trade. Trade is the business, something like the family business. He might have been apprenticed by his father or relative. If children was wealthy enough to not to have the work progressed to the secondary school, where the children nobility studies under learned man called sophist. Sophist was illiterate teachers who were hired for a specific period of the time to teach intensive subjects beyond the studies in the elementary school. Sophists touched mathematics, especially special topics, astronomy, geometrics, advanced literature, and music theory. That is sophist teaching the special subject. An alternative form of secondary was residential schools. Residential schools focus on prescribed subject for students during the 4 years of the study from 14 to 18. The curriculum for residential schools was divided into 2 broad categories. One is the trivium, which consists of the 3 subjects, is grammar and rhetoric and dialectic. Second is the Quadrivium is forming is which consists geometric and then arithmetic, astronomic, and music. These combined categories were often referred to the field of the education as seven liberal arts. Mean is now current modern education for the seven liberal arts is grammar, rhetoric, dialectic, and geometry, arithmetic, astronomy, and music. Plato established one such school as the academy. Now we are academic is Plato. He are established where he specialized in subject mathematics and literature. Aristotle developed Lyceum. Lyceum is the Aristoteles, where he interrupted his student in the biological science. Epicurus founded the Epicurean school in Eton, where he emphasized the study of the ethics and moral philosophy. Means Plato is academic, Aristoteles is the Lyceum, and Epicurus is found Epicurean school. Is the Greek philosopher, they are established their own school. Different background, different subject to teaching. We are thinking about Greek philosophical thought. The word philosophy in Greek is of course philosophy may be culminated the theology, but its Greek philosophy certain being with science, not with religious. Socrates is the same. Socrates is the same as the founder moralism. Plato was as the founder idealism. Aristoteles as the founder realism. Mean is they are combined three kinds: moralism and idealism and realism. We need to understand what's going on. Socrates and moralism. Socrates showed his defined importance such as justice, piety, and courage. Socrates really answered our student's question, but guided the student toward self-discovery by asking a series of the questions that placed him in state mental disequilibrium. Mean is he is Socrates the question for their student. He argued and contended with his student to the point where they found themselves hopelessly lost and confused by contradictory statements. Two specific areas of the Socrates story was particular interesting here. First one is a universal definition of the term and dialectical argument. First concept refers to terms being defined such that its meaning remains the same regardless of the cultural or contextual difference. The second concept refers to his method of arguing with his students to confuse them and challenge it. Their reasoning process. Socrates was well known for his unique method of the instruction. His instruction is education. He began his day walking throughout the school yard, asking questions of his students. Mean is the Socrates' unique method of the instruction is ask a question. There were not simple questions. They required short verbal responses. Rather, they were specifically written such to force students to think critically before responding. Thinking and responding. One and teaching method based on questioning could be considered. That is Socrates' method. This answer mode of the teaching has various forms in modern education. The range of the discussion format has from completely undirected brochure groups of the rap sections to the seminar. Is the Socrates method is the completely connect the modern education, specific topic and propose. Discussion involved ask open-ended question. Open-ended question, no fixed answer. Is the opening mind all kind of question and answer is very interactive. Questions that require more than simple yes/no answer. Forming ask for the option of the base information to deeper questions of the meaning and application. Another philosopher and teacher is Plato. We are learn about Greek philosophy and schooling education. Plato and idealism. As an idealist, Plato believed that only through common education controlled by state could be created society that had inspired the corp that couldn't withstand internal and external threat. Mean is the Plato is the suggest common education. That means the government need to invest and build up schooling system. That is Plato is the founder of the public education. Plato believed that taking care of children's education was best interest of the nation and therefore strongly encouraged it. Another significant contribution of the Plato's education philosophy relates to his belief that women should be equal recipients of the education along with men. Is before Plato, woman is not involved in educational system. Only boy is involved in education. But is Plato suggests women should be equal recipient of the education. He insisted women being admitted to the same educational institution as men if they had financial capacity to attend. Means still they are private school. They pay the money. In here, Table 2 describes the Platonic system of the public education. Here, he is suggested according to age. The less than 3 age, infancy, physical growth and development, sensory ripe, no fear, children react to pleasure or pain. And age 4 and 6, nursery, play, fairy tales, nursery, rhythm, myth, seek to eliminate the self-will of the children. 6 to 13, elementary school, play, poetry, reading, write, sing, dancing, religious, social etiquette, members, geometry. And 13 to 16 is instrumental music, play, guitar. Guitar is one of a kind style, the music instrument guitar. Sing religious hymns, memorize the poetry and arithmetic. And 16 to 20 is gymnastics and military. Formal gymnastic and military training, no intellectual training done at this stage. 20 to 30, science. Coordination of the reason and habit. Integration of the physical science. And 30 to 35, dialectic is philosophy, psychology, sociology, law, government, and education. 30 to 50 is subordination. There is no education period. And 50 to die, philosophers, higher philosophy. This one is public education, is Plato suggests. Very similar, current modern educational system. Plato's idealism did not end with his view of the public education. He also speaks the important role of the government in forming. Government should forming law and the free expression of the ideal regardless political party affiliation or social economic status. Means Plato suggests any kind of word, speech is allowed freely. Very important. Why? Political issues is a different concept. Political is prohibit some idea. But Plato's idealism open, free expression. A political and philosophical trailblazer, he was not always appreciated for position he held, but he held the superior intellectual and theoretical ability. He seldom lost debate. He is always debate. Another next concept is Aristoteles and realism. Aristoteles came from the wealthy family in Athens. He annulled Plato's. Aristoteles is the student of Plato's. Plato's academic at the age of 17 to remain on his tutelage of the 20 years. When Plato died in the 347 before Christ, Aristoteles left Athens and traveled throughout Asia Minor area. He was private tutor Alexander. That is one of the history of the Alexander Great from the age 13 to 16. At the age of 49, Aristoteles returned to the Athens and found the school of the higher education. Aristoteles is Lyceum. Lyceum is the established school name where he remained until he died at 62. Numerous philosophical differences exist between Plato's idealism and Aristotle's realism. It is a different concept. Chief among these differences was concept of the reality. How to approach reality? Plato, as idealist, object was real and possessed form only if it exists in the mind of someone. Meaning is the more focus on the mind of the someone. To the realist, matter was independent mind. Even Plato, mind without mind, nothing is real and possessed. But realist is the independent of the mind. There is object to the real apart from the one's mind. Aristotle held the basic constitution of the every object was form and matter. An object couldn't exist form as the case, gravity, God, and conscience. But it's impossible for matter to exist without form. Mean is realist is should be one of form. Should. That is a different approach. Between idealism and realist. Okay, this is the Greek education. Okay, next one is the VR, page, I think 78, and Rome education. The history of the Rome education can be divided into 5 broad categories. From the city of the Rome was established 753 before Christ, closing the pagan school by Justinian is AD 529. The first period is home instruction period. Rome education was held by family, and the father has undisputed rule of the supreme authority in the family. The parent was first educator of their children. It was the pragmatic form of the instruction that presumed that the son would follow footsteps. What does it mean? Son will be after father's tread. Mean is father, same trade business. Father is the businessman, son is businessman. Same as a younger was become the homemaker, such like his mother, her mother. They are a little in the way formal instruction was offered to children in the early period of the Rome education. Another period is the transformation period. Transformation period is 272 to 132 before Christ. With the military conquest of the Rome expanding it to other regions. This period Rome is expanded their nation all over the Asia and Europe. The Rome formed of the education took of the decidedly different perspective. Decisive event is time when Rome conquered of the city of the Trajan in 272 before Christ. Many of the Hellenized captives. Here, Hellenized captives they are intelligent peoples. Rome is conquered, and the Hellenized captive is as a slave. They're brought to the Rome as slave to serve in variety of capacities, such as capacity is the role of the higher tutor. Mean is some the philosopher, educator, as a slave come to Rome and teaching their children as slave of teacher. As Rome become assimilated the cultural distinctive other countries, education become to take a broader perspective. Mean is Rome is perspective is very broad. They are received a lot of their other countries' perspective. Education is involved together. That is the different concept of the Rome. Some of the educated slaves from the conquered region who refer as the riturators. Riturators serve or the purpose similar to that of the Greek pedagogue. Pedagogue is the similar concept of the tutor. They provide more detailed instruction beyond that given by the boy's father. This practice eventually transitioned into the Rome elementary school for children 6 to 12 years old. At 12, boys enrolled in secondary school, the curriculum of which consists of history, that time is education history, geography, literature, and the study of the Greek and Latin language. Third period is the imperial period, is 132 before Christ to AD 100. The Rome Empire expanded all sides during the 2nd century before Christ. Rome annexed Spain, Carthage, Illyria, and Greece. During following century, Rome subjugated northern Africa, yes, Egypt, Asia Minor, go to the Elbe and the Danube. Rome has become the mistress of the entire Mediterranean world. Mean is all Mediterranean side is Rome is the conquered and control. The study of the Greek breadth include the teaching language, grammar, metric, and style, and subject matter was aided by reading aloud, which was reckoned great important, and running by heart and part of the pupils. The Latin grammar school taught medicine and law as regular school in Rome. Most of the school was private. Mean is almost school private, financed by parents of those who sent their children to them. In 38 before Christ, Asinius Pollio established the first public library in Rome. Obviously, during this time, Jesus Christ was born and the Christian church was established. Mean is government. The empire of Rome is conquered all Mediterranean area. That is the chance Christian expanded their believers and to the world. First period is the period of the continuance. Rome literature was come to each one during this period. No longer was emphasized upon Greek thought, become the Rome scholar has now established their own literature based. Rome literature and schooling continue to play a large part in the structure of the nation. AD 275-529, decline of the period. During this period, the Rome government began to issue edicts that mandated and controlled the educational system across the empire. The result, state monopoly over education and corresponding limitation of free speech that is a profound effect education as a whole. Mean is the school is controlled by Rome. Rome higher education came to the end AD 529 when Emperor Justinus closed the school of the philosophy and the law of the Athens and the old school of the higher education in Rome. The only school was spared was School of Law. Meaning is that period is the church is dominant, and then they are all closed the old school of the pagan. The sad story. And the educational structure of the Rome education. Levels of the Rome education. There are 4 levels of the schooling that grown out of Rome perspective on education. First one is home. Second one is elementary, and the grammar and rhetorical 4 level. Education began home with the training from mother before age 7 and father after age 7. In elementary school, subject matter consists of primarily reading and writing. Writing taught by the Rudy McGilster or literature. And the grammar school emphasizes 7 liberal art taught by the grammaticus. Grammaticus is the professor or the literators. In the schools of the rhetoric, young man was prepared for the careers as professional orator or advocates. Rhetoric schools were taught by rhetoric, man skilled in the art of the public presentations and articulate debate. All of the Rome contribution to modern civilization, perhaps most completely permeates our modern life is their alphabet. Is Rome is the Latin that is their created alphabet. Yes, this alphabet is become the common property of the almost all civilized world. English language is speaking throughout a large part of the civilized world, and by 1/3 of its inhabitants. Mean is the alphabet. Rome creates the alphabet. They developed. Is their Rome levels of the education. First one is the home, age to 6. Basic instruction is duty related to the home, girl, homemaking, cooking, cleaning, making clothes. Boy, character and moral development, respect for elder. Elementary school, very similar, 7 to 13. Taught by the Rudy Magister or literator, the content consists of primarily reading and writing and arithmetic. Grammar, age 12 to 15, Latin grammar school, taught by the grammar master's course and the literators. The content consists 7 liberal art, grammar, rhetoric, dialectics, music, arithmetic, geometry, and astronomy. And then collegios. This is collegiostic is from the college. Is 16 to 18, known as School of the Rhetoric. And content consists of grammar, rhetoric, and dialectics. University is age 25 to 40. The University of Rome taught course in law, medicine, philosophy, architecture is structure, building, mathematics, and rhetoric. We are considered the difference between Greek and Rome education. There are 7 differences between the Greek and Rome system education. Greek is education focused on imaginative thinking, but Rome education on imaginative. Rome education focus on reality, more reality. Greek education is creative, thinking new things, but Rome is concrete, fixed. And Greek is subjective, and Rome is practical. Practical is useful. And Greek is the artistic. Artistic is more art, but Rome is constructive. Constructive is build something. Greek is idealistic, and Rome is realistic. And then Greek is a minimum administrative capability, but Rome is extensive administrative capability. And Greek is a pure practical tendency, but Rome is a minimum intellectual pursuit. And then Greek made contribution to field of the art, philosophy, and literature. But Rome more made contribution to field of the law, architecture, and civil government. Lifestyle of the aesthetic enjoying and appreciation for nature beauty. Little value of the aesthetic enjoyment in life, because their value were more utilitarian. Worshipped the beautiful and good, but worshipped the force and effectiveness. Sought to enjoy life rational and noble, was willing to wait for the happiness. The beauty, virtue, and poetry and art. Thought, law, duty, respect, civility. This is a huge difference thinking educational paradigm between Greek education and Rome education. A cursory comparison illustrates the difference between the two cultures and evidenced in their education system. In essential, the Greek gave the valuation of the fine art. Greek is focused on fine art, aesthetics, philosophy, literature, and music. Rome was far more pragmatic and provided its world more the civil government, system of law, legal code, commerce, and engineering. Together, Greek and Rome formed a rich heritage upon which modern civilization would be developed. Yes, Rome and Greek education huge impacted the modern education. Okay. This is, you read my book. Okay, I wanted to continue for the Christian education in early church. Early church is the really combine the empire of the Rome. In Galatians chapter 4 verse 4, Jesus into the world. This message speaks about the opportune time for the Mary to born Jesus into the world. But God prepared more than Mary for the coming of the Savior in the world. God preparing world for coming his son too. But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth his son, born of the woman, born under the law. The context of the early Christian education. Upon the conquest of the Macedonia in 146 before Christ, Greece became the province of the Rome political state. But Greek culture and intellectual captured Rome in many respects. The contribution of the great Rome Empire to begins its Christianity cannot be overstated. The Son of the God was born into the world that valued learning. The Hebrew has contributed the emphasis upon monotheism and family life education. Monotheism is only one God. The Greek has provided emphasis on the philosophy of the united under common language, and then Rome give the world a strong civil government with secure borders, commerce, communication, and stable means of the transportation. Mean is the Rome conquered all of the country, and then they have the given the opportunity very stable. Together, this nation and the cultural contribution laid the foundation of the early Christian church education. When considering education changes that occurred within Rome Empire and the Christian church, there are two distinct differences in development. Imperial school provide their students with one type of training, but Christian school provide another type. As the century progressed, the number of the influence of the pagan school diminished, while the established by church slowly grew to the dominant European education. Mean is the church is the control educational field. In this early church, Jesus was a master of the teacher. How to teach him? He is skillful educator. Jesus was a skilled educator. Jesus often speaks in proverb, which create a degree of the intellectual disequilibrium in his learner. Jesus uses proverbs because they require higher levels of the critical thinking from his disciples and those who came to challenge him. Proverbs reveal biblical truths and values through the story. These stories remain fixed in the mind of the listener. Listener can recall easily. Another method is the proclamation. Jesus also teaches through the proclamation. This form of the instruction engaged both mind and the heart of the learner. Jesus said, "You have heard it say, But I say to you, something like Jesus' challenge of the limit of thought of the knowledge of the runner. Jesus assimilated new forms of meaning and proposed into old form of the knowledge. I say to you. Sometimes a simple object lesson. Jesus used the water to communicate the nature of the purpose of the biblical worship to Samaritan woman at the roadside of the well. Jesus used old wineskin to speak to Old Testament curriculum and the need for new paradigms of the thinking. Jesus used children as object lesson to point people to true nature of the kingdom living. A lost coin to the reveal God's quest for the misplaced soul. Yes, lost coin, the owner find the coin. As like God quest misplaced soul. Unbeliever, he invite. Repent the period of the portray the spiritual harvest that is available to those who serve minister of the gospel. The use of the object lessons help the listener bring new spiritual meaning and insight through common elements of the thought. Simple object lesson. Jesus used the variable method. Jesus' teaching used the variable method of the speech as well. Jesus used two different objects and to reveal explicit comparisons. Example, a small mustard. Small mustard seed and other larger seed. Jesus also used the metaphor in which implicit comparison is made between two objects, good shepherd and sheep, and the vine and branch. It is a typical variable method Jesus used in education. Here, as like the another proverb is a mustard seed, and the smallest all over the sea, but it has grown its larger than any other plant. Good shepherd. He say is I am good shepherd. I am the vine, you are the branch. Jesus used the poetry. Jesus also used the form of poetry in his teaching. The ancient Greeks used this approach frequently. Jesus used poetry form as a parallelism for runners. Judge not be judged. Condemn not be condemned. Summed is matching. Another method, hyperbolic, is the controversial method because the method hermeneutical employed to interpret the passage and make relevant application of the instruction. Jesus used the hyperbolic method, his admonition. In one example is if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. Wow. How to do? Something like the hyperbolic proclaim. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw away. How to cut it? My the hand. It's crazy. But Jesus hyperbolic method. Do not resist one who is evil. If anyone slapped you on the right cheek, return to him the other also. Should. This is the instruction. After Jesus, the apostolic age. Because after Jesus is the dying on the cross, he is the resurrection. After church is continued growth, but persecution from Roman Empire that time. Jerusalem church. Jerusalem is the first church in Jerusalem. The structure and the form worship of the Jerusalem church would look very Jewish at first. But the church of the Jerusalem is very similar of the Jewish tradition. They continue to meet at temple, meet worship and Sabbath, observe the daily prayers, keep the Jewish dietary law, and read the form of the Old Testament scripture, and maintain the practice of the circumcision. For the outside observer see the Christianity is a mild kind type of the Judaism. But there is a difference of the such assembling for worship on first day of the week instead of the Sabbath. Mean is Sunday. After Sabbath, after they are Sunday. Meet at home for small group fellowship. Christian build up the church according to one's giftedness, and the church would not look much like Jewish community believers. Didache. Tradition tells us the early apostles also developed a church manual for the training of new believers. This 16th chapter book called Didache instruct a new convert in matter pertaining of properly living the Christian life. Teaching regarding baptism, communion, and fasting. Distinguish between false teachers and godly prophets, qualification for church leaders, and the living of godly lifestyle in light of the imminent return of Jesus Christ. Another type of education is catechal manner instruction. The apostles' teaching continued to establish and strengthen the church body. As new believers was added to church, some systematic form of the instruction was necessary to ensure the authenticity of the faith and consistency of the practice. People with the gift of the teaching and shepherding took the lead of providing this training. Yes. The word catechism or the catechism was derived from the Greek word that is translated instructor. Instructor is teaching. They occur New Testament 7 times. These passages reveal systematic instruction that was provided as preparation for accepting new convert into fellowship. Mean is early church, newcomer is if they did not come before the follow the convert, they did not participate at the worship time. Mean is they prepare their some the instrument to follow, that is catechism or catecholumen. That is some kind of the manual. The period of preparation lasted 2 to 3 years and was comprised 3 distinct levels. Thus, the first level called the hearer, because they were allowed to listen to the reading of the scripture and to sermon in church service. At the first level, hearer also received instruction in the base tenet of the faith. Second level of the report is the kneeler, because they remain for corporate prayer after hearer was left the class. Yes. Kneeler received more detailed instruction in matter pertaining to recent Christian life. The final level is chosen. Wow. The chosen was people who received intensive training in doctrines and church liturgy, was prepared to receive baptism. You are in the early church is 3 level, different level of the faith. May they have the certainty concerning the thing you have been taught. He spoke and taught. This form of Christian education reached its peak of the popularity around the AD 325 to 450, but is declined in effectiveness because the expected of the children to baptize and the pagan were commanded by law to attend church. Mean is the Rome changed Christian nation. Christian life. Mean is the almost people. First one is the children baptized. Pagan should be attended. Pagan mean is the not believer. Even all over the country in the Rome should attend, mandatory by law. Yeah, is the wrecking genius motivation of the joining the faith. Persecution of the Rome Christian keep their faith, reality, geniusly. But Rome changed Christian nation, pagan, they attended church without faith, without believing. Just they are mandatory attend church. That is very the challenge. Early church educator, church fathers, apologetics, and polemic. During the 2nd and 3rd century, church continues to suffer persecution. Church father, The church father write a letter to the and behalf of the Christian to encourage their endurance under persecution. Wow. It's a sad story. The church father was responsible for the shepherding church through the turbulent time. Turbulent is difficult, very change of time. They attempt to make the message of the gospel consistent with the Greek and the Latin philosophical teaching of their day. The motive, the might of the miserable at the time, the consequence their action have to have lasting impact on the church. Apologetics. Apologist is someone who speaks and write or defense of someone of something that is typical, controversial, unpopular, subject to criticism. Apologists provide detailed defense of their faith before governmental leaders in effort to provide national defense for Christian faith. Why? That time, Rome they have the governor, empire, they have the not have the religious. Christian very persecution. And that time apologetists protect Christians. Polemics is finally third type of Christian educator known polemic, right effort to maintain purity within the church and to dispel the false doctrines of misguided teachers. Three kinds of the church educator. Some the heresies. Heresies is the different kind of the Christianity. There are several kinds of the different. First one, Gnosticism. Gnosticism in the root of Platonic dualism that had the physical matter was evil and the realm of the spiritual was superior. Gnostics. Another heretism is Docetism. Docetism was a variation of the Gnosticism in that it had Christ being a pure form of God, could not associate with evil physical matter such as the human body. Manichaeism developed for the Gnosticism founded the Syriac-speaking Babylonian Mani. Manichaeism is the influence. Okay, this kind of the issues huge impact early church education. Through this style, we learn about church education. What's going on? Next chapter will be, we go to the Christian education in Middle Age. I will, next week, this chapter, we will continue. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week.